this is the Child Safe ID kit. Now, this is crucial because it deals with our children's safety. Now, we've all been there before, right? You're at J.C. Penney or, even Starbucks, something like that. You turn around, the kid's gone. Then they come running out from behind, I don't know, the underwear aisle. Everything's fine. But it makes you wonder, right? I mean, if they were taken from us unexpectedly, would we have the proper information to get into the hands of the authorities? Well, this takes care of that for you. This is our Child Safe ID kit. Let me show you how it works. You just write your child's name right there, write Samantha's name right there, day, month, year that you filled this out, and you open it right up. Everything that is going to change, like height, weight, you put that in pencil. Everything that stays the same, eye color, you put that in pen. Now all the basic info goes right here. Full name, birthday, height, eye color, you get it. Mom and dad's information goes right here. Now this is where you're going to attach a photograph of Samantha, and it's updatable. You're going to want to do that every 6 months. Every family I sit down with, I like to tell them, whenever the clocks change, you change this photo. Spring forward, change the photo. Fall back, change the photo. And you're going to put the child's age in the photo right there, and the date the photo was taken right there. Now next, we actually have a fingerprinting strip. Yeah, pretty legit. Now what you're going to do is you're just going to peel that back. Now be careful, it's wet on both sides. And you're going to do the left hand first, then the right hand. That's just to make sure it doesn't smear or anything. And right here, that's where you're going to notate any distinguishing physical characteristics. Birthmarks, scars, they don't have any tats yet, right?
No.
Okay. Well, if they had a birthmark, say, on their right arm, you would just put that right here, and then you put a little pen mark right there on the right arm of this figure here. Now next we have where you put a DNA sample. Hair follicle will do just fine, and you can just tape it right there. Alright? Now on the back here, this is actually the most important information on the packet. This is where you're going to teach your kids about 911 and the dangers of strangers. Now, I tell every family I sit with, don't put your kid's name somewhere public like a backpack where a stranger can see it. Because if somebody was to come up to Samantha and say, oh, hey, Samantha, come with me. Your parents, they've been hurt. They've been in an accident. You need to come to the hospital with me. She might go. Now, what I usually tell families to do is they need to make a password and a code word. So let's say you actually did need to send someone to pick Samantha up, somebody she's not familiar with. Let's say that password was, I don't know, grasshopper. Well, they would get to Samantha's school and they'd say, Samantha, your father needs me to pick you up, and he said the password was grasshopper. Well, then she's going to know that everything's okay. Now, what you also want every family to have is a safety code word. So let's say that code word is soccer ball, and Samantha's at a friend's house for sleepover. Something happens that makes her feel uncomfortable. Well, she can just give you a call or shoot you a text saying, hey, Dad, can you bring me my soccer ball? Then you know something's not right. You get there right away. Now, does this make sense to you guys? You see how important this is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, when we sat down with the International Union of Police Associations, we promised that we would try to get these out to as many families as we could. Now, with our limited time and resources, are we going to be able to get it out to everybody who needs it? Probably not. I mean, I'm the only agent in your specific area. However, what they do allow you to do is pick 6 families that you know of with children so that they can get access to these kits as well. But you only get 6. So who's the first family you want to do that for? Someone you care about. If their kid went missing, well, you would drop everything.
My brother Mark.
Okay. Brother Mark, any partner, wife?
Yeah, Melissa
Mark, Melissa, what's the last name?
Johnston.
Johnston, gotcha. And Mark, what does he do?
He's a contractor, actually.
Contractor, okay. What does he do? Roofs, sheds?
No, he's a man of many trades.
Oh, yep, I've been there. He out of Syracuse?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And what's the phone number?
315
315
829
829
2932.
2932. All right, who's next? Moving right along. All right, Matt and Nicole, this is what you qualify for. This is, if you choose to enroll, you would be paying $38.22 per week. And all right, why is it $38.22 per week? Well, it's based on a principle that we call it the hour power principle. How it works is, each of you takes an hour out of your work week and you pay yourself first. And you take the other 39 hours plus overtime. You spend that money however you will. But you sleep at night knowing that your gaps are filled, everything's protected. Think about it like this. If your boss was to come to you guys today and say, you guys are doing such a good job, I'm putting both of you on a permanent 41-hour work week. Now, you're not going to run out and get yourself a new Ferrari with that 1 hour, right?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, no, probably not. Now, let's say I flip that, right? And the boss takes an hour off your work week. You guys going to sell everything out of your house just to make ends meet around here?
Absolutely not. No.
Right. I mean, that's why it's $38.22. We just want to make sure, your union just wants to make sure that it's affordable for the both of you. Does it make sense how that works?
Mm-hmm.
All right, all right. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Either of you ever been on the financial side of a funeral before?
Yeah, it was a
Okay.
while ago. Yeah.
Okay, would you tell me about it? I mean, I hope you don't mind my asking, but was it someone close to you?
Yeah, it was a family friend. Yep.
Oh, and how did you guys take care of that?
He didn't really have anything in place, so the whole family had to come together,
So,
and
yep,
yeah,
I hear that a lot.
yeah. We could only afford a cremation too, so I ended up just getting, bare
Right.
bones cremation. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. It's expensive.
Yeah, I hate hearing those stories. Well, I'll tell you what, the average funeral these days will cost you about $14,000.
Holy smoke.
Yeah, and what most families don't know is that life insurance does not cover the cost of a funeral the way it used to. Now, how it used to go was, say something were to happen to you, Matt. Nicole, you would take that $50,000 policy that Matt has. You'd hand it to the funeral director, and that would serve as collateral until the insurance check came in. Doesn't work like that anymore. Used to be insurance companies had to pay up on a policy within 24 days. Now they have 6 months to a year to pay out on that policy. Why do you think that is, Matt?
Interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Interest. Millions and millions of dollars they make off interest, keeping all that money invested. Meanwhile, families like your own are getting hit in the pocket for, when the time comes for a funeral. Now, another thing that's happening is there are actually two companies out there buying up all the funeral parlors and cemeteries in the United States and Canada. One of them's out of Texas. They're called SCI. The other one's out of Canada. It's called the Alderwood Group. Now, the only reason I tell you that is they both have a corporate policy that dictates they want 100% of all funeral costs up front. Now, I don't know about your guys' financial situation, but most of the families I sit down with, they don't have $14,000 just sitting around to pay for a funeral. And those that do, I mean, they want to hold on to that money, pay off some of the bills and expenses that come afterward. That's why we came up with this. This is your freedom of choice funeral certificate. Now, how this works is, say something were to happen to Matt. I mean, it could be tomorrow, God forbid, could be 50 years from now. An accident, disease, anything in between. Doesn't matter. Nicole, you take this certificate to any funeral home in the United States, they will accept it. In fact, they love it because it's backed by a big, powerful union like your own. They know they're going to get paid. Now, let's say you go with a traditional funeral, that runs you $15,000. Well, with a casket, flowers, service, what have you. Well, you would just write $15,000 right here, fill out the arrangements, sign as the beneficiary. Everything's taken care of. There's not one single out-of-pocket cost as long as you keep Matt's funeral under $37,000. And Matt, you keep Nicole's funeral under $37,000. Now, those are two pretty important numbers. So the funeral director, when you leave that funeral home, first thing he's going to do is pick up that phone and call us on this corporate number here. He's going to ask us two questions. One, are you enrolled in the program? When I leave here today, you're going to be enrolled. That's not a problem. And the second thing he's going to ask is, how much money do you have to work with? Now, if I were to tell that funeral director that you had $37,000 to work with, what do you think that funeral's magically going to cost?
37.
Yeah, 37, 36,999, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it shouldn't work that way. And we don't allow it to work that way. What we do is we never reveal that number, and we ask that you never reveal that number. Instead, we just pay them the $15,000, and then we cut a check to you and the kids for the difference. And it's the cleanest, most compassionate way to take care of something that happens to all of us. I mean, it's sort of like a prearranged funeral. Have you guys ever heard of a prearrangement?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Right. They're great in concept, right? I mean, everything's taken care of prior to death. I mean, this is the exact same thing, except for remember, it's permanent and it's portable. You can take this to any funeral home in the U.S. You're not held down to any specific funeral home. In a prearrangement, I mean, those can run up to $80, $100 a month, and they're only worth what you've paid into it at the time of death. This is a blank check worth $37,000 for each of you. You each get this certificate. Now, does this make sense to you guys?
Yeah,
Okay, right. You see how important this is, right?
absolutely.
Now, Matt, what would you do without this?
I have no idea.
I have no idea. Yeah, I hear that a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's super important to make sure that your funeral is taken care of.
It's a peace of mind.
Mm-hmm. Now, this last benefit I have to tell you about, this is our hospital benefit. Now, this is why most members enroll. It's our living benefit. So I'll stop getting you killed now, and I'll just get you hurt a little bit. So let's say little Samantha's running around in the backyard. She sprains an ankle. Where are you guys headed?
ER.
Yep, ER, probably. And you're probably missing work to go there, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So that's all that work money going away. And on top of that, you got a deductible to deal with. How much does that usually run you?
My co-payment's probably like $100 or so.
$100?
Yeah.
Yep. Now, if you're like me, $100 is $100.
Mm-hmm.
So you're $100 in the hole, and you had to miss work to be with your little girl. Now, what this policy does is it pays you $200 for every hospital visit as a result of an accident. Not anything, like sickness, I don't feel good, fever, but things like, you step on a nail, need to get some chemicals flushed out of your eye, bad reaction to a bee sting, you get it. You're covered for $200 each time you visit the hospital for an accident, and it's unlimited. So, I mean, you can use this as many times as you need to in a year. You visit the hospital 6 times, that's $1,200 for you at the end of the year. Now, it's not going to change any lives, right? But I mean, if $100 is $100, $200 is definitely $200.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this next benefit, this actually can change your life. I've seen it happen plenty of times. Let's say, Matt, you wake up in the morning, you got crust in your eyes, you go down to the corner store, get yourself some cigarettes, some idiot runs a stop sign, hits you. Next thing you know, you're in the hospital. You've been there for 10 days. Now, a lot of bad stuff is going to happen to you folks financially in those 10 days with Matt laid up in the hospital. I mean, there's no income coming in from Matt, right?
No.
No income coming in from Nicole either, because if I know you like I think you know you, you're going to be sitting there at his bedside. Meanwhile, the bills are going to keep piling up. Now, what this benefit does is for every day Matt spends in the hospital, this is going to pay you $400 per day for each day up to 365 days per occurrence. So let's say something weird happens. Matt, you get out of the hospital after those 10 days, you're good to go. Month later, bam, I don't know, same bozo hit you with the same car. You're back in the hospital. This would set back all the way to day 1, and you'd be getting paid again, those $400 per day, up to 365 days. So in this case, we're talking 10 days in the hospital. That's $4,000 of completely tax-free money going to your guys' household. How do you think you could use $4,000 in that sort of situation?
Oh, yeah.
Yep, and that's completely tax-free money. Doesn't go to your doctor, doesn't go to your hospital. That shows up directly at your door, and you can use it however you want. Now, let's say that accident's a little worse, Matt, and you end up in the ICU. This benefit will pay you $800 per day you spend in the ICU for up to 14 days. Now, they cap it at 14 days because you're in there any longer, you're probably going to be using that funeral benefit, right?
Yeah.
But the benefit doesn't go away. It just reverts back to that $400 a day for up to a year. Now, does that make sense to you guys?
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
You see how important that is, right?
yeah.
Matt, why is this so important to you?
Well, because it's a peace of mind that if I
Right.
was ever laid up in the hospital, my family could still eat.
Exactly. Peace
Yeah.
of mind.
Mm-hmm.
Peace of mind. And keep in mind, you guys have all of that living benefit, all of that AD&D coverage, both your incomes protected, both your funerals taken care of, each of the kids covered if something were to happen to them, all for $38.22, about the price of a pizza and wings a week. Now, does that make sense to you guys?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, most families go with option A. That's just everything we talked about today. And or there's option B, and that just knocks down the funeral benefit to $20,000. But everything else is the same as you see here. So which option would work better for you?
Option A.
Option A, perfect.